breaking news that's coming in. As the Supreme Court is all set to hear the CBI plea on Kuldeep Singh Sengar, security has been beefed up outside the Supreme Court. It's a high-handed case that we're looking at that's being taken to the top court, one that has taken a look at a lot of protests. No vehicles have been allowed at the entry gate of the Supreme Court at this point. The roads have been blocked using barricades. The call has been taken after a few protesters protested outside the Supreme Court against the very verdict of the High Court. And this, in fact, has been the situation that we've been witnessing for the past few days now, ever since the verdict was announced by the High Court, how activists from across the national capital and also women from across the national capital have been protesting at different locations, including outside the Supreme Court. More breaking news, in fact, coming in at this given point. The CJI-led bench assembles for the Unnao hearing. Now, viewers, this is the very moment that that we have been awaiting for. In fact, let's quickly listen in to one of the key protesters and the person who has been fighting for the right of the Unnao rape victims since the day of the verdict had come in, Yogita Bhayana. Let's listen in to what she had to say right ahead of this Supreme Court hearing that's to take place.
यदि वो गलत हुआ था, टेक्निकलिटी को वो लोग समझेंगे और इसको अंडू करके इसको जस्टिस देंगे। हमें उम्मीद है हमें न्याय मिलेगा, हमें पूरी उम्मीद है हमें न्याय मिलेगा और मिलना ही चाहिए। एज आई सेड कि हाई कोर्ट ने जो ऑर्डर दिया था उसमें अगर आप ऑर्डर को पढ़ेंगे, सुप्रीम कोर्ट डेफिनेटली समझेगी कि वो ऑर्डर में कितनी बचकानी हरकतें थी और ये डेफिनेटली उसको अंडू करेंगे। 100% हमें स्टे ग्रांट होगा और इस इंसान को वापस रखा जाएगा। हाउएवर इन दिस केस अगला केस भी वहाँ ऑर्डर पे रिजर्व है, which is the murder of the father.
Going back to Nalini at this given point, Nalini, what we are hearing at the point is that the CJI bench has assembled to hear the very case. Before we proceed with our discussion that we've been doing on the verdict that's been given by the High Court, let's quickly take in updates from you that you're learning about what's exactly happening in the Supreme Court at this point.
Yeah, the bench is assembled before the Supreme Court. Like we've stated multiple times, it's a bench headed by CJI Surya Kant. There are a certain number of urgent matters that are being mentioned for hearing before the Supreme Court takes up the Unnao case. We're given to understand that it's item number 3 on the list. So a couple of more hearings, some more time. We'll have to wait before the matter officially begins before the Supreme Court. But the bench has assembled. The bench is going to look into the matter. We're given to understand it's a jam-packed courtroom. Courtroom number 1, Chief's Court, just under that dome that you see behind me, if the fog permits. But we understand it's a jam-packed courtroom despite the fact that the Supreme Court is on vacation. A lot of lawyers have come. There are a lot of people inside the courtroom, including the teams of the CBI, the Solicitor General, all of his juniors, the lawyers who will be appearing for Kuldeep Singh Sengar in this case as well, are all present before the court. They are waiting for the hearing to begin. It remains to be seen what happens. Essentially, the main thing we are watching out for today are threefold. Number one, what the CBI will say while making its arguments in the case, how they are going to push for a stay to be granted on the case. 2, what Kuldeep Singh Sengar's lawyers are going to say in its defense, because essentially what they stated before the Delhi High Court was that Kuldeep Singh Sengar's sentence should be suspended because there was no threat of him absconding anywhere. He was an MLA at that time. So there is no doubt about the fact that he will cooperate with the authorities. He will ensure that he appears and he reports regularly, on the basis of which all the conditions were imposed on him in case he's released out on bail. And third and most importantly, whether or not the Supreme Court will give an order today, at least an interim order, deciding whether or not a stay should be granted to the Delhi High Court judgment. So those are the 3 main things that we are going to watch out for. Of course, Supreme Court's also taking up a few other matters, but a lot of excitement, lot of anticipation regarding what the Supreme Court will do when it comes to Kuldeep Singh Sengar and whether or not the highest court in this country will finally make him accountable after he's managed to somehow get relief from the Delhi High Court.
Right, Nalini, quickly let me take in a response from Aneesha at this given point. Aneesha, while Nalini just ended up pointing out the 3 focal points that we're keeping a look at, I have one question with regards to the second point that she's spoken about. If indeed the Supreme Court ends up giving a stay on the High Court order, the concerns with regards to the victim and the victim's family's safety still does loom large. Why? What exactly are we expecting on that very front from the Supreme Court at this given point? If you could just lay some context as to how that part might be looked at by the Supreme Court, what they may be giving in as an order on that very issue?
Well, we'll have to see the history of that to answer your question. In May this year, the Supreme Court had been informed by the Home Ministry that according to them, because Sengar has now been convicted, the threat perception to the family of the victim is now reduced, and therefore they will not need security anymore. This is in May 2025, because remember, the Supreme Court has been monitoring the security of the victim and her family members since 2018, when this matter came up before the Supreme Court. She's been under CRPF security. Her family was given security. In fact, they were transferred to Delhi, and the Delhi Commission for Women was given the responsibility to ensure that they are put in a safe place, they are given residence safely, and they are given protection. It is only in May this year that the threat perception was considered to be lowered enough, because Sengar has now been convicted. And now that Sengar's conviction is, the appeal is before the Delhi High Court. The Delhi High Court has suspended the sentence. That issue will also have to possibly be considered once again, and that is something the counsel, the lawyers appearing for the family of the victim may raise before the Supreme Court. Remember, Shreya, this is not an ordinary person who is in the under question. Kuldeep Singh Sengar is a 4-time MLA. His entire family is very, very influential in that entire area. And that is exactly why the victim had been saying continuously that she and her family are under threat. Even in May this year, when this matter had been closed by the Supreme Court by saying that the threat assessment has to be done by the authorities concerned, that the victim, the survivor herself, will continue to remain under security till this matter is there.